With our streaming today, but here we are. Today is Monday, the 3rd of November, 2025, and this is papertrail.com, our daily streaming all about compliance in UK for SME and mid-market firms. Last week, we spoke about the hidden cost of duplication, and this week we'll go further with the supplier due diligence, sanction screening, and keeping evidence audit ready year-round from the risk perspective. Today's topic is the hidden factor that decides your supplier risk. And you know which it is? It's evidence. So don't worry about acronyms. There are going to be plenty of them today, but we are going to explain them as we go along. So this, as a sort of disclaimer, this is not a complete guide, although I will focus on reviewing the main problems. And without further ado, let's dig into it. So number one is supplier checks are repeated across teams. Without a single risk view, you end up with copies of the same artifact. And yet regulators expect a joined-up, proportionate oversight. And here's the biggest overlap: artifacts. That just means a concrete piece of evidence you produce during the supplier due diligence, the thing you can show an auditor to prove a control exists and is being operated. So different teams prepare the same document again and again and again. So this is documents like sanction screening logs or Article 28 contract checks. The second problem is for sanctions, ownership and control, there is no official list. Your processes must assess indirect control and record your reasoning. So let me explain this again. For sanctions, ownership and control, there is no official list. It's your processes that must assess indirect control and record your reasoning. And the third problem is that boards, if your company doesn't have a board, which is a governing team that is responsible or remain responsible for risk systems, they need visibility of principal risk and controls and not scattered folders. So this is a major problem in many companies. So let me try to put this in a metaphor to make it easier. Have you seen these tool boards? So these boards where the shape or of the shadow of the tools are printed or colored in a different color from the board to the shape of the tool, and then you have little hooks where you put all the things there. So your supplier file should look like a toolbox, not a junk drawer where you dump things into there and then you try to find things around. So it's in one place. All tools are labeled and accessible with the right permission. So you might have things under a locker or something if you don't have people to touch the most dangerous ones. So anyone can grab what is needed under the pressure and stop doing the same artifact again. And remember, the artifact is the concrete piece of evidence you produce during the supplier due diligence. So here are three ways to sort this out. Number one is build a single supply dossier. Remember the tool board. So you have four things in there. One is identity. So it's a company's house extract for it refers to the personal significant control or ultimate beneficial owner. Number two is the role. Who is a controller? Who is a processor? Number three is security posture. And you can use the NCSC 12 principles, or you have to use these, which are the 12 principles, or also called the 12 principles of supply chain security. And number four, sanction screening. So each item had to be tagged to a risk. Solution number two is to tie this dossier to your risk register. So it's the likelihood of something happening, the impact, and the control strength. So review higher risk suppliers more often with enhanced checks. And number three is avoid the pitfalls. And this is one of the big ones: screenshots without context. So always log the date, time, list the sources, and include identifiers and an ownership or control analysis. So we have a problem, we have solutions, but you see it start to get very complicated, because this is one out of the 16 UK frameworks that any company will have if you have, but there are more if you are in scope. So the big challenge is particularly for SME and mid-market companies, where there are no dedicated teams or officials or personnel within the company to run these compliance requirements. So it start to get more complicated. That's why it happens, the overlaps, because different teams are doing the same thing and they are not knowing that they are doing exactly the same thing. So no wonder that 73% of UK companies outsource and hire consultants or advisors, according to PwC survey that happened published this year. So what you should be looking for when you're hiring externally or outsourcing many of these things, as I always mention in these live streams, you and your company should have a compliance baseline, or at least a baseline in mind, so you can hire on your own terms. And here are 3 suggestions how to do that. So look for, when you're looking to outsource, look for outcomes, what the outcomes they are producing. In this case is, do they provide a supplier dossier template you can reuse for privacy, security, and sanctions, and auditors can see a single trail and not fragments? You see, reuse is a keyword here. So you can reuse privacy. We're talking about GDPR and cyber essentials, etc. Second thing that you can look for is a differentiator. Do they have mapped links from each disclosure metric to at least one underlying risk? So that one control mitigates multiple threats across multiple frameworks. And number 3 is, do they provide a risk reduction to your organizations, like live risk scoring and artifact lineage? And we spoke about artifact earlier, so concrete piece of evidence you produce during supplier and due diligence. And artifact lineage shows the linearity, so which is a requirement, which is a control, and which is the evidence. And all this together makes priorities obvious and reviews faster. Remember that the aim here is to have audit ready all year round. So one action that you can take today is, in the next 30 minutes, to wait for too long, create as a test, create a 1-page supplier dossier if you don't have it already done. And this template will have 5 fields, which is a company house extract, the persons with significant control, the ultimate beneficial owner, or one or the other, the 12 principles of supply chain security posture notes, sanctions logs, renewal date, and pilot in one vendor. If this 1-page works, then probably you can copy and paste the same structure to all the other suppliers, and then pretty much you start to build your dossier. Now, this is a lot of work, by the way, because this is one of the many frameworks that you had to satisfy in terms of compliance. So there's a cleaner way, there's a faster way. This is with paper trail. You get your compliance in one place with the reusable supplier dossier mapped to ICO, which is Information Commissioner Officers, the National Security Center, and the Office of Financial Sanctions Implementation is ready to show risk and evidence right away. This is perfect for UK SMEs and mid-market because you use the same control library for health and safety, GDPR, DVCA, cyber essentials, EPR for packaging. So there's no double entry. You use the same control library, reducing the overlap by 60% and the costs by 80%. Because you have everything in one place, it's a continuous gap analysis. The system is constantly checking that where are the gaps. Clear view of what's done. So you already been doing many things and you pretty much upload your information, and the system is intelligent enough to identify what's done, what is missing, and who owns the fix, or who is responsible before assurance, inspection, reports, and audits hits you. So you have everything in one place. You do it once, you do it properly, and then move on into the things that actually is more important to you, which is grow your company and be more profitable. So stay tuned this week as we go forward with supply chains, due diligence, sanctioning, screening, and keeping evidence audit ready year round. And tomorrow I will cover one question, and this is an overlooking critical step in the sanction screening. Join the waitlist, papertrail.com. Have a great day and see you tomorrow.